Rec-
Okay, so it's really good to see everyone today. Before we begin with my sharing for today, let us start with a very short silent meditation. Let us make sure that we are sitting comfortably, either both feet flat on the floor, or you would like to sit with your legs folded. Either way is fine. And if you have glasses, you may remove them, put on the table. Let us rest our hands on our laps, making meditation gesture with two thumbs gently touching each other. Close our eyes, slightly tucking our chin, relax our shoulders. We can try to take in a few deep breaths. Relax our body as we focus our mind. As we enter into the fourth class for this session, if any one of you can memorize the mantra, you can recite in your mind, or we can also focus our thoughts on recitation of Medicine Buddha's name. Either way, we try to focus our mind single-mindedly, following our breath in and out as we calm our mind and focus our mind. Let us start with our meditation today. Now let us slowly take in 3 deep breaths, breathing in slowly, breathing out, breathing in again, breathing out. One more time, breathing in, breathing out. Let us slowly open our eyes, gently rub our palms together. Feel the warmth on our palms. Let us cover our palms on our eyes, the top of our head, over our ears to the back of our neck. Let us rub our palms together again. Gently massage our shoulders, arms, all the way to our fingers and wrists. Let's rub our palms one more time. Let's breathe in, breathe out as we slightly bend forward, massage our back, where our kidneys are, our thighs, knees, calves, all the way to the sole of our feet. You may put back your glasses if you have one. Okay, so before we start, continue with our class, let us have a quick recap of what we have learned so far for the last Saturday. So last Saturday, we talked about the interconnectedness between our body and mind. And it is through our constant awareness of our mind, making sure that we give rise to wholesome thoughts. Then we'll be able to change some of our deep-rooted habits. So like, for example, getting angry, giving rise to greediness in our mind, being anxious, being a little bit like filled with fear, or even like agitated. There are different types of habitual tendencies that we might have when situation happens. Sometimes if we're not being mindful, we will just follow our habitual tendencies and react according to our habits. So, but then if we constantly being aware of our mind, our thoughts, making sure that we always think filled with wholesome thoughts in our mind, then we won't be able, we will be able to change some of our deep-rooted habits. So the same goes to our lifestyle. If we adapt healthy diet with healthy lifestyle and being mindful of our emotions, then we will have a more healthy body and mind. We even go in depth in terms of how different emotions might affect certain organs in our body. And sometimes, of course, the discomfort within our body can also affect our emotions in some ways. So when the Buddha shared with us about like the emotions, our reactions, the thoughts that we have, they are interconnected in many, many ways. Not only our lifestyle, there are also some of the conditions where we don't have any control, like for example, the pollutions in the air, the water, the food, and etc. But then the elements, the factors that we can be mindful of is starting from our thoughts, starting from our mind, and of course, like having healthy diets, having healthy lifestyle, doing exercise. All this will be able to ensure that we can live healthily, both physical body as well as mind. Okay, so for today, we are going to focus on the practice and meaning of medicine Buddha mantra. So at first, when I plan out the syllabus for this term, I thought of like putting the introduction to mantra towards the end. But then like one of us mentioned that he would like to learn more about it. And of course, like looking at the Medicine Buddha Sutra itself, when we come to the middle part of the Medicine Buddha Sutra, the Buddha also mentioned about Medicine Buddha mantra in between, in the middle of the sutra. So before we really look into Medicine Buddha mantra, a quick introduction to mantra. So mantra, even though it is a Sanskrit word that describes the essence of certain teachings according to Buddhist mantra, but in general, this word was introduced way before Buddhism. Even back then, 2,600 years ago, or even earlier, Indians have, like even the yogis, they have certain mantra when they practice yoga. Even the Brahmins, when they do certain rituals, they recite certain mantra. And eventually the word mantra, after the usage for many, many years in the past, eventually in the early 1800s, this word was actually included in an English dictionary. So in the English dictionary, this mantra, the word mantra, is mainly referring to a word or phrase that can aid concentration, being able to stay focused, one word or a phrase. And if they, in the dictionary, also mentioned that literally mean that is a thought, the thought that we have behind a speech or action. So, however, in today's world, many of us have their own personal mantra. Like for example, for sometimes like for non-Buddhists or even like the Westerners, sometimes they have the mantra of like, oh my God, something like that. So it's something that one will easily express. And then this is a short phrase, but it is an exclamation. And sometimes like every one of us, when we wake up in the morning, to ensure that we have a very good day, sometimes in our mind, we will recite our own mantra. Like for example, oh, today is a beautiful day. Today is a very good day for me to start. And sometimes if we are easily get nervous over certain things, even like a presentation or even accomplishing certain tasks, sometimes we will say to ourselves, I can do it. I can do it. I tried my best. I'll be fine. So all this are examples of personal mantra. Something that can help us concentrate, something that can help us motivate ourselves so that we will won't feel afraid, won't feel with like stress or even nervousness or even fear. So the personal mantra itself is helpful in motivating ourselves in doing a certain thing every day. The same goes to different religions. Like for example, for the Muslims, they will express if something that goes well and hope that they will have a good turnout. They usually will say inshallah, okay, something like God's willing. And different religion have a different mantra. The same goes to Buddhist mantra. In Buddhism, some of you, if you have been reading different sutras, sometimes you might also come across different Buddhist mantra. Okay, so usually mantra is usually comprises of to the essence of the Buddha's teachings, and sometimes mantra itself comprises of the names of Bodhisattva. Okay, and different sutras, when Shakyamuni Buddha share with us the different teachings, different practices from different Buddha, different Pure Lands, or even different bodhisattvas, sometimes the Buddha will also introduce the mantra as one of the main practices of certain Buddha. Like, for example, Medicine Buddha, the whole sutra, the essence itself can be summarized into a few sentences. We call it mantra. Later on, I'm going to explain a little bit in details in terms of what does this mantra means. Okay, and the most common mantra that some of you might have heard before, like for example, the great compassionate, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, has a 6 syllables mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. Is something that when we recite in our mind, we can embrace the great compassion of Guan Yin Bodhisattva or Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. Okay, and not only that, like for Amitabha Buddha, the teacher in the Western Pure Land, some of us, when we finish reciting the discourse of Amitabha Buddha Sutra, we will recite 3 times, we repeat 3 times the rebirth mantra, okay, towards the end of it. Okay, hopefully that with the recitation, with the practice of Amitabha Buddha's the rebirth mantra, one will be able to recite this mantra single-mindedly, especially towards the last moment of one's life. Okay, and of course, like besides Amitabha Buddha, earlier we mentioned about Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. Besides the 6 syllables mantra of Om Mani Padme Hum, great compassionate Bodhisattva also has what we call the great compassion dharani. So dharani, the word dharani and mantra, oftentimes they are being used interchangeably. The word dharani, D-H-R, the first syllabus, it has a meaning of to hold or to maintain. So this phrase or a few sentences of dharani or mantra, it is believed to retain or encapsulate the meaning of a very long text or a long sutras. And sometimes it summarizes all the main practice of a certain Buddha or a certain Bodhisattva. Okay, so 4, in the Medicine Buddha Sutra, that is one part of the sutra where the Buddha addressed the Manjushri. At the time of his enlightenment, referring to Medicine Buddha, are due to the strength of his original vows. The Medicine Buddha of pure crystal radiance was capable of seeing numerous sentient beings, encountering various forms of illness, such as emaciation, yellow fever, and disorientation due to magical practices. He also observed them suffering due to premature demise or an unexpected or violent death. Wanting to relieve these beings' suffering and illnesses, to fulfill all that they sought, he then at the moment entered into the samadhi called eliminating the suffering and agitation of all beings. Upon entering meditative absorption, a great light emitted from the crown of the Buddha's head, emitting from the Buddha's head. Immersed in this light, the Buddha then recited a great dharani, which is the Medicine Buddha dharani or mantra. So with this paragraph, we can see that when Medicine Buddha, after realizing enlightenment, the Medicine Buddha filled with compassion in eliminating the suffering of all beings because of the great compassion of Medicine Buddha in making sure that all sentient beings can relieve oneself from both physical and mental illness. the Buddha enters into a very deep samadhi or deep concentration and recite this mantra. So in this mantra, what I'm going to explain to you is based on the Sanskrit translation of the mantra. And when we recite the mantra, it is a part of the pronunciation of based on the Sanskrit mantra. So before we look into like the how to recite the mantra, I would like to share with you the meaning of Medicine Buddha mantra. So Namo Bhagavate, we all know Namo. It basically means taking refuge, or the word homage. Sometimes we come across these two different translations. Bhagavate is also another name, refers to the enlightened one or the Buddha. Okay, taking refuge to the Buddha. Okay, which Buddha? There are so many Buddhas. So Vaishaja Guru Vaidruya is referring to the name of Medicine Buddha. Okay, and even the word Rajaya, okay, or sometimes the root word of Raja means the teacher, someone who is very good at certain things. Like for example, the king of the medicine, Raja, okay, because this word in Sanskrit is also the same as in Malay, like the king, Raja. Okay, so Tathagataya, it also refers to another name of the Buddha. So it's very interesting to see like the Buddha referring to the Buddha. There are Bhagavate, Tathagataya, or Tathagata, or even Tatata. There are different words that is referring to the Buddha, the enlightened one. Okay, and Arhate. Sometimes we also come across this word like Arhat or Arhat. Okay, it's referring to the person or the practitioners worthy of offerings. And we all know that when a person start the practice, whether practicing meditation, upholding the precepts and cultivation of wisdom, the more that we practice, the more that we improve ourselves, eventually one will realize our hardship. Okay, a person that has let go of the certain attachments to the self. So arhat or arhate here, referring to someone who has been well practiced and worthy of offerings. Well, someone that we can offer food, offer fruit, or offer robes and different things. Someone who is worthy of offerings. Samya Sambuddhaya Tathayata. So it is also referring to the one of absolute universal enlightened awareness. Okay, in some ways, this is more of like elaborating further this in terms of how we describe the Buddha. We know Buddha, enlightened one, and this further elaborate who is the Buddha, the one of absolute universal enlightened awareness. Okay, and then the word Om is like sacred, Om or holy. Okay, Vaishaja is referring to medicine, 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 referring 3 times. Okay, in this mantra itself. Samudgate Soha. So usually when we recite a mantra or dharani, you will always find the word Soha. Okay, or in Chinese is So Po He. Or like in the Sutra, we know Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Buddhi, Soha. Okay, Buddhi is enlightenment. Soha is the accomplishment. Hopefully that with when we take refuge in the Buddha and practicing the practice of medicine Buddha and reciting this mantra, we hope that one will achieve accomplishments or the intention of ending disasters. It's like Soha is like wrapping up the whole thing. Like hopefully everything will turn out successful, turn out as what we practice. Okay, so this mantra itself, imagine every one of us have our own personal mantra, okay, to motivate ourselves. But if we look at the Buddha, medicine Buddha, with this medicine Buddha mantra, the Buddha enters into a deep samadhi. And out of this great compassion, feeling for the suffering from everyone, and with this great vows, 12 great vows that we have looked into when we have our first class, we can, it's like really hard to imagine like how the Buddha really embraces more than family. To anyone, all sentient beings, someone that the Buddha knows or might not know, anyone who needs help, Buddha always reach out to those who are in need, reaching out, embracing everyone in one's mind, in the Buddha's mind. And the Buddha always wish and pray and hope that every one of us can practice, and not only to relieve ourselves from the mental burden, from the mental illnesses that we might have, and of course the physical suffering. Okay, with this recitation of the mantra, is filled with all the great vows, all the great compassion. So sometimes mantra itself, to many of us, it is a very powerful practice. Is a very powerful mean for us to concentrate or to stay focused. It is because mantra, even though it's not long, it's not as long as the sutra. It is usually short, a few sentences. It's one way for us to embrace the great practice of a Buddha or a Bodhisattva. Okay, in this case, is medicine Buddha mantra. Okay, so the practice itself, okay, it continues in medicine Buddha Sutra. Manjushri, if you see men or women who suffer from illness, you should, with a devoted heart and mind, help bathe them, cleanse their mouth, and administer food, medicine, or water, which has been purified through 108 recitations of the Dharani, referring to the medicine Buddha mantra. And all their illnesses, and suffering shall thereupon be extinguished. Okay, and it continues, Manjushri, okay, when there are men and women who wholeheartedly, earnestly, and respectfully make offerings to the medicine Buddha of pure crystal radiance, and who often uphold this Dharani without neglect, never forgetting it. This is how we should practice the Dharani or practice this recitation of the mantra. Okay, so even though like the main focus for today is the recitation of the mantra, but with the 9 other classes that we had and we are going to have in this term, we have to learn from medicine Buddha in terms of the practices. How are we going to, with the help of the Buddha, how are we going to eliminate or elevate ourselves from this illness, both physically and mentally? Okay, when we are so focused on this mantra, as if like some of our physical illness or physical pain or physical discomfort, because our mind is so focused on the mantra, our mind will not really feel the physical pain. the same goes to some of the practices that we are going to learn along the way. We help us fill our mind with compassion, fill our mind with gratitude, fill our mind with appreciation. Then we won't give rise to the mind of greediness. Okay, when we don't give rise to the mind of greediness, one will be able to solve the problem of having stress or even having like stomach problem or physical illnesses that rooted from greediness. Because of greediness, we do certain things that will affect both our mind and our physical body. So for today, we're going to just focus on the recitation of Medicine Buddha mantra. Okay, so right now, we are going to learn how to recite this Medicine Buddha mantra. And what you see on the picture is last year's decoration that when we have our Medicine Buddha prayer service last year. Okay, I just want to share with everyone. Okay, so let us look at the Medicine Buddha mantra. Okay, it started with Namo, taking refuge. Okay, we are going to recite 3 times the name of Medicine Buddha. Okay, Namo is taking refuge in Medicine Buddha. 消灾延寿药师佛. This is in Chinese. 药师佛. The last 3 characters, it means medicine. 药 Shi is the teacher, okay, or the king, or someone who is profound with the practice of medicine. Fo is Buddha. So later on, I'm going to play part of the mantra so that we can follow this mantra slowly as we learn how to recite the mantra itself, okay? And then after reciting 3 times the name of Medicine Buddha, okay, we are going to start with the second line, which is the start of Medicine Buddha mantra. Okay, so this is a pronunciation based on Sanskrit, but we put it in the wordings of Pinyin or the Chinese pronunciation so that we know how to pronounce it. So I'm going to read one time, word by word of the mantra. Okay, so it is Na Mo Po Che Fa Di. The first phrase. Pi Sha She Ju Liu Bi Liu Li. The second sentence. Bo Lai Bo He La She Ye. Dan Ta Jie Do Ye. O La He Di. Sam Miao Sam Bu Do Ye. Dan Zhi Tang. An Bi Sa Shi. Bi Sa Shi. Bi Sa Shi. Sam Mo Jie Di Shou He. Okay, so this is the pronunciation, the word by word of Medicine Buddha mantra. So right now, I'm going to play part of what I've shared with you during the week. Please join your palms as we recite together. You don't have to turn on the mic, it's okay. We'll recite together. Try to contemplate the pure crystal radiance of Medicine Buddha in our mind as we recite this mantra. And please join your link that I shared with you is actually the recitation of 108 times of the Medicine Buddha mantra. Okay, so you might notice the speed at the start of the recitation of the mantra is slow. Yeah. And the more that we recite and repeat, it will continue to as we familiarize the recitation of the Medicine Buddha mantra, eventually when we are familiarized and we are reciting it smoothly, the speed will pick up a little bit, especially towards the end, almost the end of the mantra, like the speed is faster. Okay, so okay. So for conclusion for today, the Medicine Buddha mantra derives from the great compassion in eliminating the suffering and agitation of all beings. When we recite in our daily practice, we should follow Medicine Buddha in doing the same contemplation. Our mind will then gradually remove from the three poisons, which is the greed, hatred, and ignorance. Okay, so this is what I would like to share with everyone for today. So now it is time for Q&A. Not sure if anyone has any question.
We do have one question so far, Venerable.
Okay.
And one comment just came in.
Okay.
Would you like me to read it for you?
Yes, please. Who asked this question?
This is from Chintan.
Oh, okay. Chintan is here.
Yes.
Okay.
He says, thank you, Venerable, for the quick recap. This is after your first slide when you had mentioned the overview. You mentioned that we can have a healthy body and mind if we have a healthy diet and lifestyle. How do karmic imprints from past lives affect our health in the present lifetime? Question. If possible, could you kindly address this question at the end of our class?
Yeah, this is a very good question because in the Medicine Buddha Sutra, whatever that Medicine Buddha has shared with us are the things that we can change if possible, something that we can manage, something that we can be mindful of. But when it comes to karmic imprints or karmic retributions from the past, it is sometimes that we might not be able to change. But of course, if we are being mindful at the beginning, the karma that we generate along the way will actually change what will happen in the near future. Like take, for example, I know one of the venerables in Foguangshan, her family, they all like from parents, from father, mother, sisters, brothers, in their lives, like at a certain age, they discover they have stomach cancer. And of course, this venerable, she has like constant examination, like a physical examination to make sure that it is not something from the gene. And later on, she discovered why the whole family experience or have stomach cancer is because of what they ate at a very young age. Like the same family, we eat the same thing. Okay, whatever our parents cook for us, we eat together as a family. So in some ways, like the karma itself is based on what we have created, what we have planted, what we have done within this lifetime. Okay, when we are born, like from our parents, it could be genetically influenced. But most importantly is what we have done later on. It will also add on to the karmic imprints. So in many ways, like the interconnectedness between our mind and body, it could be something that we created within this life. something that we won't be able to see. For example, a person like this daughter that another story is that she born in a family where for some reason the mom always doesn't like this daughter for some reason that she couldn't explain. And when she grew up, like within that environment, like imagine like there are so many siblings, and this mom is always like, whatever good things, food, don't give it to this daughter. Imagine like I'm one of the daughter, how would we feel? So with that kind of the emotions that one accumulates like throughout the whole life. So eventually at the age of 40, she developed a certain cancer. So in some ways, it could be part of the karmic retribution, why we are born into this family, not other family. That is part of the karma. But in some elements that we need to look into is something that we created ourselves. The emotions, the thoughts that we have, the stress that we give ourselves. All these elements are something, if we are being mindful, we might be able to change the outcome. We might be able to change whether it is our physical wellness or our mental wellness. Yeah. So I hope that this answered Chintan's question. Okay.
Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you.
And we have another comment and question. The next comment was from Fong Liam. He said that one of his favorite chanting sessions from Po Wan Shan is the medicine mantra and sutra. And then next we have a question from Mui. She asked, Venerable, why do we recite the medicine Buddha mantra in increments of 7?
Good question. If it is 3 times, I think that it might be too short. 7 times, at least we can get familiarized with how to recite the mantra. And at home, you can try out 108 times. And of course, like 7 is part of like Chinese culture in some ways. There's influence from Chinese culture. 7 to many of us like is an auspicious number. Like, but then if you look at the calendar that we use, how many days in a week? 7. Why 7? Then we ask this question: why is there 7 days in a week? Yeah. So you know, like there's could be reason why, could be culture, could be just a coincidence. But my why 7 times, I just want everyone to familiarize. and I hope that if you want to really learn the recitation of the mantra, you can play like slowly, starting from the very beginning, because that is when the recitation of the mantra is very slow. And hopefully we can recognize the characters, the pronunciation, and of course, most importantly, the mantra is for us to stay focused. Is a way for us to practice concentration. Okay, and sometimes, like if some of you might have known the Great Compassion Dharani, especially those of you attend the Great Compassion Repentance service. So there will be one section of the service where we recite 14 times of the Great Compassion Dharani. It is longer. So some of us might not be able to memorize it, but some of us can memorize it when we recite every word from this Dharani. Every word from this Great Compassion Dharani actually comprises of the names of different Bodhisattvas and different names of Buddhas. So if our mind can stay focused on the mantra itself, our mind will not give rise to other unwholesome thoughts that it might give rise, mind. Okay. So again, for us to recite the mantra is for us to stay focused. And if you think that this is too difficult for you to learn, it's okay. You just click play. And then you can try to meditate with your eyes closed and just listen to the mantra. And then when we listen to the mantra, try to embrace the great compassion of this medicine Buddha. Like open the heart, embrace everyone in our mind. And like when we think of others suffering, it also helps us to cultivate the mind of great compassion ourselves, just like medicine Buddha. Okay, so I hope that answered your questions. Okay, any more?
Yes, we have another question, and we have a comment from Liam. He says, it took nearly 26 years to finally remember and be able to read this mantra without viewing it on a screen sutra. After moving to Canada, I started to look at my close friend who follows Diamond Buddhism path and recite this mantra every single day. But I wasn't able to remember a single certain sentence from this mantra. I started to believe in Buddhism even more, draw digital painting of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and decided to learn this mantra in only 2 to 3 days by repeating it all the time while listening this chanting session of FGS. Is it because that my bad karma and low acknowledgement of Buddhism from previous lives was too much that that faded my vision for a correct path and memory ability?
Yeah, this is a very good question. In what the Buddha shared with us, like it is very important with the practice of listening. Okay, sometimes when we listen to a certain sound, certain mantra, certain word, at times that we might not be aware that we are listening. Okay, but it has planted seeds in our mind. Okay, like for example, like when I was young, I haven't really learned English yet. Okay, the little ones, toddler, crawling here and there. But anyway, my dad was an English teacher, so both with my parents like talk to each other like in English, of course. Myself, I haven't learned English, but I listen. Okay, I didn't even know what my parents are saying, and then all of a sudden one day I just pop up one word, and then my parents will look at each other. Huh? What did she say? How did she know that word? Something like that. Okay, the same thing as mantra, the same thing as sutra, or the same thing as what we learn in a society from the textbook or from our teacher. Sometimes like when we're doing certain things and then we just play our phone, play the podcast, even though we might not be listening to it, we might not be paying attention to it, but in some ways it has planted the seeds in our consciousness. Okay, so that's the reason why in another sutra, Surangama Sutra, when Ananda was like asking questions about where's the mind, and then eventually towards almost the end of this sutra, the Buddha actually recommended us, everyone here in Saha world, to practice listening, just like Guan Yin Bodhisattva, just like Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. Why the Buddha recommends us to practice listening? It is because our ears, our listening skills is the best means of practice compared with our eyes, compared with our nose, compared with our thumb, compared to other senses. Why? You might be wondering. For example, eyes. For us to see, we need light, we need brightness, we need the reflection of the light so that we can see certain things. But can we see air? Well, if the air is in a balloon, then we can see it. But then in many ways, our eyes are limited to the ability to see certain things. If it's too dark, pitch black, we won't be able to see it. Okay, but when it comes to feeling, okay, we can contact, we can touch, the sense of touching. We can feel, but then if it is too hot, if it is too cold, we can feel it. But then if it is something that non-tangible, intangible, can we feel it? Like if it is wind, if strong enough, we'll be able to feel it. But other than that, there's limitation again. But when it comes to listening, when it comes to our ears, whether we put our attention to listening or not, whether when we're sleeping, do our ear close? Can we say that, oh, when I'm sleeping, I close my ears, don't want to listen. When I'm doing certain things, I want to ignore whatever sound that is passing by in front of the temple, like Park Boulevard is a very busy road. I still listen, I still hear all the different sounds, even though I have a certain point in focusing my mind in, but my ears are open to all sounds. Of course, like you might say that our hearing is just limited to a certain decibel, certain frequencies. If it's too high pitch, we won't be able to hear it. Too low pitch, we won't be able to hear it. But why hearing? It is because we are listening to the sounds at all times, whether we are aware or not, whether we're sleeping, whether we're eating, whether we are talking, whether we are paying attention or not, everything absorbed in our consciousness. So even though this mantra might be very new to you, but after listening again and again and again, until one day when you know that you're ready, you put in effort in learning word by word of the mantra, eventually you'll be easily remember this whole mantra. But of course, that also involves the elimination of a certain karma within ourselves. Is because when we focus on the mantra again, our mind won't think of other unwholesomeness. That also contributes to one of the reasons why we can learn the Dharma easier as we improve ourselves in our practice in the later days. Okay. Yeah, I hope that answers your questions, Lam.
Thank you, Venerable. We have 3 more comments and a question. And the question is related to pronunciation, but I'll read the comments first. From Liam again, he said, I got emotional every time when I listened to chanting session of FGS, especially this one. I've cried every time and looked back on how I have not been able to reach enlightenment. Next, there was a comment by Elaine. I find it difficult to follow all the words, sounds when reciting mantras, so get lost. Then cannot understand the sounds to rejoin the chanting. Do you have any ideas that would help? And Dennis added to that question. He said, I echo Elaine's question because some of the Chinese words are exactly opposite of what an English pronunciation would be. Is there a website where we could learn pronunciation of these words?
I would say I would recommend like true repetitive listening to the mantra. Okay. First few rounds, you can just listen to the mantra. Okay. And then once it's just like music, you know, when we play a certain rhythm, we might not be able to catch the tone, the rhythm, the sound of it. But the more that we listen again and again, especially the link that I shared with you is 108 times. If we were to listen every day, day and night, hopefully we will be able to know how to recite it. And of course, like if some of you prefer the pronunciation in Sanskrit, you can also try to pronounce it in Sanskrit. But what I share with you is the closest pronunciation in this, what do you call that, Romanized words. And of course, like it's slightly different than the pronunciation in English. But I would say give yourself some time. And for myself, when I learn and memorize all the different mantras, it took me some time. I don't remember how long it was, but during my days in Buddhist college, I always listen again and again and again. And of course, like I even put in effort in recognizing like the different pronunciation. And of course, you don't have to worry about a slight difference in terms of the pronunciation. You don't have to worry about like how accurate each word that you can pronounce. The main thing about the recitation of the mantra are 2 points. One is to embrace the great compassion, the great practice of the medicine Buddha. And the other one is for us to stay focused, to concentrate. Okay. So give yourself some time.
One last comment in the interest of time that came in earlier was from Chin Tan. He said, Venerable, I find the Sanskrit pronunciation that you shared earlier much easier because of my familiarity with it as compared to the Chinese language. And the other comments that came in were just people helping each other with pinyin pronunciation ideas. So I will not read them just because of the time since we reached to 3:02 time.
Okay.
Thank you, Venerable.
Yeah, thank you again. Yeah, so pinyin, I know like yeah, it might not be easy for those of you might not be familiar with Chinese, but you can try Sanskrit, you can try different different ways to recite the mantra itself, whether it is Sanskrit, whether it is in Pali, whether it is in whichever language that you're familiar with. But as long as it's medicine Buddha mantra. Okay. So any more? Okay. If not, let us
dear Shifu, before we go, would you please tell us how can we pronounce your name? Because that Chinese letter look like hiding something or like something I don't know. Can you teach us how to pronounce your name? Thank you.
Yeah, my Dharma name is Miao.
Oh,
yeah, so if you don't remember, it's okay. That is not important. Yes,
thank you. Thank you so much.
So let us conclude our, let me see. Yes.
I have a question. Is it appropriate that we play the mantra with the only sounds at the background when we chanting the time? Is it appropriate?
Yeah. When you're doing the sutra copying, you can play the chanting. Just like what I shared earlier. For myself, sometimes when I'm sitting in front of the computer or when I'm reading, sometimes I'll play the chanting or play the mantra itself. Or sometimes like some of you might have a small chanting box that repeats the Buddha's name. It can be turned on like 24/7. You don't have to worry about like what is there or not, whatever that you're doing.
Okay.
Hope that helps.
All right.
Okay. So let us conclude our session for today with dedication and merit. Please join your palms. May kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities to benefit all beings. May Chan, Pure Land, and precepts inspire equality and patience. May our humility and gratitude give rise to great vows. So for next Saturday, I'm going to share with everyone the power of gratitude and contentment based on the Medicine Buddha Sutra. Okay, so, and I hope every one of you will have a great week ahead, and please continue to stay safe, and I will see you next Saturday. Thank you, Miao.